Those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. This is Success with Srini.
June is an interesting month of every year, the middle of June primarily, because this is the time when I look into all the goals that I set for myself for this year, most of them at the beginning of this year. And I kind of do the 6 months check to see, how far I have come and what are the things that I need to change and the necessary modifications I need to make so that I can get to the finish line, which is the end of the year. So 6 months are good enough to make the changes. So this is the middle point. There is a process that I use to kind of recalibrate myself. And this process also involves my team, my entire team. By team, what I mean is not people who work in my business. My team includes my family. My team includes my brokers, my real estate agent, my attorney, my insurance broker, my admin, everybody, anybody who is with whom I spend time, with whom I talk to, with whom I interact with. This is my team. All these people are my team members, and I look at them as if without them I cannot survive. At the same time, by just being with them and having, kind of thinking them as a part of my goals and my plan, I'm not only going to survive, but I'm going to thrive. So this is the time of the year when I kind of look into everything that I have done so far and I make some observations and I take those observations to these people, and depending upon who that is and where they are in the mix and what I need from them, I plan out the next 6 months. So what I want to do today on the podcast is I'm going to share with you this 3-step formula that I believe is going to completely change the game. Whatever game you are playing, and maybe if you are a goal setter yourself and you are trying to achieve some big things as a part of this year, then there is still time, and then maybe this process is going to give you a new way to look into everything and kind of set you differently if you are struggling. Okay, so let's get into this. The first part of this plan is the plan. If the plan itself is incorrect, it's hard to create a life. Forget about just achieving goals. It's difficult to construct a life. When I say plan, there are some ingredients to it. Primarily, the biggest ingredient of a plan is the goal. And we talk about goals all the time on this podcast. I talk about this. We're watching this on YouTube. There are numerous videos I've done on goal setting. Every third podcast is about goal setting. The goal setting itself is such an overused word. Listen, if you want to set goals, then you don't need to listen to 20 podcasts or read 20 books on goal setting. You just need a plan. Maybe one book would do it, or maybe one podcast will do. But for some reason, there are so many podcasts and there are so many videos and so much of content on goal setting, and still we can't get it. We are smart people, but we somehow do not put ourselves in the position of setting goals. 2 days ago, I just did a podcast. I think yesterday also I talked about goal setting. When I say plan, there are more things other than goals. So most important part is your mission. Then comes your objective as an individual, as a business owner, as a family man, as whatever roles you play. What's the overall objective? What happens if you achieve all the goals that you set for yourself this year? Where do you see yourself next year or 5 years from now? Let's say you get everything that you ever thought of in the next 5 or 7 years. Then what? What's the overall objective, and why are you doing what you're doing? That's the start. And that question has to be answered, and I try to answer that at the middle of the year, in the middle. Mission, objective, values. What values are going to be helpful now that you are here, and what values are not helpful anymore? What can you change? Then comes focus, then comes dedication, all those things as a part of your planning. How much time can I dedicate for achieving this objective? Things like that, those questions. Now, once that part is intact, it's dialed in, then we shift to the next part, which is the preparation part. And now that with the plan in place, some elements of the plan maybe they may have to be changed, but then we go to the next step, which is the preparation. Now, inside preparation, we are starting to question our thinking. Now that I have all the objective, everything figured out with a rock solid plan, what kind of new level of thinking that I need to bring in to get to the outcomes that I'm seeking? What do I need to act upon? Are my actions right? Are they incorrect? Do they need to change? Then I start to question what have I accumulated along the way, and is this accumulation going to help? Then comes things that I need to accelerate and things that I need to advance. All that I ask as a part of the preparation process. So preparation process is primarily looking to understand the gaps and trying to see how that can be bridged. I have gone on to say this multiple times on this podcast. Robert Schuller, who said, spectacular success is always preceded by spectacular preparation. So preparation is the key, and if the plan in itself is weak, it's okay, but the preparation is key, because with good amount of preparation, you can go back and change the plan if necessary midway. In a way, I'm trying to do that right now as a part of my assessment. The third part of this, the third P in this, is positioning. You need to be positioned for success. And success doesn't happen by default. And all these things, the planning, the preparation, all that is positioning you to success. And those are the elements of positioning. But then the bigger part of positioning is that when you encounter setbacks, when you encounter some challenges along the way, how do you hold on to the position? That means the position you have taken in your mind that I need to get this done, I want to accomplish this, I want to achieve this. How do you hang on to that position? That is critical. So you need to have your support systems in place. You need to have your framing in place, your affirmations in place. All these things have to be in place in order for you to not to move away from the position that you have taken in your mind in the first place. So, plan, preparation, position. All these three things are possible only if you have potential. If the potential in itself is questionable, then no amount of planning is going to help, because the plan is no more about the goals and objectives. The plan is about to acquire the potential. That in itself is a cycle of its own. It's a whole different discussion altogether. But potential is important. So you understanding yourself, building the self-awareness. I did a podcast on this just a few days ago. Those elements are important. So self-improvement continues, self-exploration continues, self-assessment continues, but at the same time, objectives, mission, values, goals, all those things have to be thought through and observed on a regular basis. I'm doing this as a part of the mid-year part, but then you should do that quarterly, monthly. I used to do this quarterly back in the day, but then slowly I've started to kind of, too many things going on, so I do this once every 6 months now. But I think the point here is, it's not about being hard on yourself to do these things, but then it's important that this has to be done. And if it's done more frequently, chances are that you'll have enough recovery time if need be, and you can bounce back from anything that may not be going right. But you get the idea. So my message to you is, what is your plan? And if you already have a plan in place, do you have a plan in place that is structured this way? I'm not saying this is the way, but this is one of the ways. So I want you to do it. I want you to look into some goals that you set for yourself. Very early on this podcast, I talked about the kind of goals: emotional, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, relational. I talked about those category of goals, and look into those categories. See what goals you have set for yourself. Where are you 6 months now that we're in the middle of June? Where are you with these goals? And what do you need to change so that you can get to the finish line? That was the purpose of today's podcast. Hopefully this is helpful. If it is, do me a favor, write a comment, write a review. You're watching this on YouTube, then please do share, subscribe to the channel, like the video and all that. Okay, that's all for now. Wherever you are, be safe, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Stay tuned.